Meryl Streep has spent nearly 5 decades as Hollywood's most guarded star, deflecting personal questions with practiced grace, always keeping the spotlight on her work rather than her private life. So when word got out in 2023 that she and sculptor Don Gummer had quietly separated back in 2017, the revelation hit differently. 45 years of marriage, 4 children, and 6 years of living apart that the world simply never noticed. But the separation wasn't the most surprising part. What followed was. In a rare reflective interview, Streep, now 76, and seemingly finished with maintaining carefully curated images, began speaking about love in a way she never had before. When asked about the great romance of her life, she didn't mention Don. She spoke about someone else entirely. A man from long ago. A love so formative, she implied it became the emotional foundation for nearly every performance she's given since. That man was John Cazale. When Streep arrived in New York, after graduating from Yale School of Drama in 1975, she was already being called one of the most gifted actors of her generation. In 1976, she was cast alongside Cazale in a production at the Public Theater. He was 14 years her senior, already acclaimed for his work in the Godfather films and Dog Day Afternoon, an actor of rare intensity and quiet power. By all accounts, the two fell for each other almost instantly, moving in together soon after, and eventually being cast opposite each other in The Deer Hunter. Then came the diagnosis. During filming, Cazale was found to have advanced lung cancer. He was 42. The studio reportedly wanted to recast him. According to people close to the production, Streep threatened to walk if they did, and given her rising stature, they relented. She reportedly helped fund his medical care out of her own earnings and stayed by his side throughout his illness, balancing the demands of a breakout role with caring for someone she deeply loved. John Cazale died on March 12, 1978. He never saw The Deer Hunter released. Every film he ever appeared in was nominated for Best Picture. 5 films, a remarkable legacy, and a career cut devastatingly short. What happened next is where the story becomes complicated. Cazale's brother, Don Gummer, returned from abroad after John's death. Streep, who had been living in John's apartment, had nowhere to go. Don offered his loft. Shared grief turned into companionship, and just 6 months after John's passing, Meryl and Don were married. She was 28, heartbroken, and by her own later admission, probably not in the most grounded place emotionally. They built a life that, from the outside, looked like a success story. 4 children, a home in Connecticut, decades of mutual respect. Don stayed out of the spotlight entirely, supporting her career without competing with it. But reportedly, they spent more and more time apart, and when their separation was finally announced, it emerged they'd been living separately for 6 years already. What Streep seems to be saying now, carefully but clearly, is that there are different kinds of love. Cazale was transformative, consuming and profound. Don represented something quieter. Stability, safety, partnership. She built her life with one, while carrying the memory of the other. Every shattering screen performance, every moment of raw grief she's portrayed across decades of iconic roles. Many believe it was drawn from something deeply real and deeply unresolved. At 76, she's finally letting that truth breathe. If this story moved you, hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this came from.